Okay, buckle up, folks. Today on the Mysteria Archive, we're diving into the simulation hypothesis. Are we trapped in a fake reality? Get ready for a wild ride. What if everything you've ever known, your family, your friends, your entire life, wasn't real? What if the world around you was just an illusion, a highly advanced simulation designed to keep you distracted while something or someone else pulls the strings? Sounds like something out of the Matrix, right? Well, some of the greatest scientific minds actually think it's possible. And if that's true, who or what is running the simulation? That one blows my mind. Can you imagine if this is all just a fake reality? And what does that even mean? And does it even matter? Let's find out. Before we begin, a quick favor. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps push this mind-blowing content to more science lovers. And tell me in the comments, where are you watching this from? The idea that we might be living in a fake reality isn't a new one. In fact, it's a question that has haunted some of the greatest philosophers in history for millennia. Long before computers or virtual reality, they were exploring the very same mind-bending concepts that physicists are debating today. This is the story of how a philosophical thought experiment evolved into a modern scientific theory that could change our understanding of reality forever. Let's start with the one who started it all, Plato. Over 2,000 years ago, Plato wrote The Allegory of the Cave, a powerful story about prisoners who have lived their entire lives chained inside a cave. Their only view of the world is the shadows cast on a wall in front of them. To the prisoners, these shadows are their entire reality, the only world they've ever known. But in truth, they are just projections of a greater reality happening outside the cave. It's a thought experiment that asks us to question our own perception of the world. Are we like the prisoners, just seeing shadows on a wall, believing them to be real when a deeper, more fundamental reality exists outside of our perception? The parallel to our modern-day understanding of the simulation hypothesis is uncanny. Then, let's fast forward to the 17th century and meet René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, a man who gave us the famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am." Descartes, not content with simple shadows, took Plato's idea a step further. He proposed the idea of an evil demon, a super-intelligent, all-powerful being that could be manipulating all of our senses. This demon could be feeding us false information, tricking us into believing in a world that doesn't exist. For Descartes, the only thing he could be sure of was his own existence as a thinking being. This radical skepticism forced us to question the very foundation of our senses. If we can't trust our own perceptions, how can we be sure of anything? But the final piece of the puzzle, the one that truly brought this ancient philosophical idea into the modern scientific era, came from a brilliant thinker named Nick Bostrom. In 2003, Bostrom wrote a paper that broke the internet, the simulation argument. His logic was chillingly simple. He argued that if a civilization ever became technologically advanced enough to create a simulated reality that was indistinguishable from the real one, they would. And if just one of those simulations existed, the number of simulated realities would far exceed the number of base realities. This means that the statistical odds that we in the year 2025 are living in a base reality are almost zero. His argument was not a claim that we are in a simulation. It was a statistical probability, a philosophical thought experiment that asks us to confront the terrifying conclusion that the most rational explanation for our existence is that we are not real. The philosophers have laid the groundwork. Now let's explore what modern science has to say. Okay, philosophy is one thing, but what does modern science have to say about the simulation hypothesis? Well, science says some really weird stuff that, in the context of a simulated reality, starts to make a lot of sense. The evidence isn't a single smoking gun, but a series of strange coincidences and paradoxes that, when put together, paint a compelling picture. Let's start with quantum weirdness. This is one of the most mind-bending concepts in modern physics. Scientists have discovered that at the smallest scales, tiny particles behave differently when we observe them. When no one is looking, they act like a wave, spread out and undefined. They don't have a fixed location. But the second we observe them, they collapse into solid matter as if the simulation is only rendering what we're watching to save processing power. It's a fundamental principle of quantum mechanics that suggests reality isn't fixed until we, the observers, force it to be. Then there's the pixelated universe theory. If our world was a truly infinite, seamless physical reality, then space should have no limits, but it's not. Scientists have found that the universe has a fundamental resolution limit, a smallest possible unit of measurement called the Planck length. At this scale, space and time cease to exist as we know them. It's almost like the universe has a resolution limit, like a video game that can only render so much detail at once before it hits its pixelated limit. It's a concept that suggests our reality isn't a seamless continuum, but a series of discrete, digital points like a giant cosmic grid. And what about cosmic speed limits? Why does light travel at a fixed speed, 186,000 miles per second, and never faster? If the universe was a true physical reality, why would there be a universal speed limit? Why can't anything travel faster than the speed of light? It could be that the universe is programmed that way, that the speed of light is the maximum processing speed of the cosmic computer. It's like a built-in physics engine in a video game that prevents objects from moving too fast and breaking. The simulation. Finally, some of the most radical physicists and mathematicians in the world are now suggesting that the entire universe might be encoded in mathematical structures, almost like lines of code in a giant program. The elegant and precise mathematical patterns that govern everything from planetary orbits to the formation of galaxies all point to a world that looks suspiciously like it was designed, not created by random chaos. These strange coincidences and mind-bending paradoxes, when seen through the lens of the simulation hypothesis, start to make a lot of sense. If we're living in a simulated reality, then sometimes the simulation should glitch, right? The programmers might have made a mistake, a bug might have slipped through, or the system might be overloading. If that's the case, then our reality should be full of these glitches in the matrix, and a lot of people believe it already is. Let's start with the Mandela Effect. This is a phenomenon where millions of people remember things differently than how they are recorded in history. Did the Monopoly man have a monocle? Nope. Was it the Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears? A lot of people remember it as Berenstain. And what about Sinbad starring in a movie called Shazam? Apparently it never existed, but millions of people remember watching it. If our memories were just faulty, we should all be making random mistakes, but instead, millions of people are remembering the exact same thing wrong. It's as if the simulation was edited, but the old version left traces behind in our consciousness, a cosmic memory error. Then there's déjà vu. Scientists say it's just a brain hiccup, a memory glitch, where a new experience feels like an old one. But what if it's actually a momentary reset in the simulation? What if your consciousness accidentally loops just for a second before continuing? It's a terrifying thought that the universe might be a giant video game, and sometimes it just freezes and reboots for a split second, and you are the only one who notices. And finally, strange coincidences and impossible events. Have you ever thought about someone and they suddenly text you? Ever seen impossible symmetry in nature, like a face on Mars or identical cloud formations? Ever had something vanish, only to reappear in the exact same place you checked 5 times already? These are the kinds of strange, unexplainable moments that could be bugs in the code. If our world was just a program, wouldn't we expect to see these kinds of glitches? The universe might be trying to tell us something, trying to give us a hint that not everything is as real as it seems. Let's assume for a moment that we are in fact inside a simulation. That raises the biggest question of all. Who's running it? There are a few possibilities, each more mind-blowing than the last. Theory 1. An advanced AI created us. What if the simulation isn't run by a civilization at all, but by an artificial intelligence? Imagine a hyper-advanced AI, created by a now-extinct species, running a simulation of past civilizations to learn what went wrong. Or worse, what if we're just NPCs in an AI's infinite experiment, a digital petri dish for a being that is more intelligent and powerful than we could ever imagine? Theory 2. A future civilization is studying the past. Nick Bostrom's theory suggests that if a civilization ever becomes advanced enough, they will create simulations. But why? Maybe we're just a digital recreation of history, a way for a post-human society to study their ancestors. Think about it. Have you ever felt like history is strangely repetitive? Maybe it's because it keeps happening in different versions of the simulation. This theory suggests that we are living in a giant interactive history lesson for a civilization that is thousands of years more advanced than we are. Theory 3. Aliens are running the experiment. If we didn't create the simulation, maybe it was created for us. What if aliens, being from a higher dimension, are studying how intelligent life evolves? Or are we just a cosmic petri dish, a galactic science project for some advanced, interdimensional race? This theory suggests that our entire existence is a cosmic experiment, and we are just the subjects, living our lives unaware of the beings who are watching us from above. And here's the scariest thought of all. What if the simulation has already run before and we've failed every time? What if history is just a series of resets, with our consciousness restarting and reliving the same mistakes over and over again? The Library of Alexandria, the mysterious collapses of civilizations. What if these weren't just random disasters but system resets? We might be stuck in a bad sequel that just keeps getting rebooted. So, where does this leave us? We've journeyed from the philosophical past to the technological future, from the mind-bending paradoxes of quantum mechanics to the terrifying possibility of cosmic resets. But the final, most profound question remains: can we escape the simulation? Philosophical theories on breaking free suggest that self-awareness is the key. Some philosophers argue that the moment you realize you're in a simulation, you start breaking its rules. What if near-death and out-of-body experiences are temporary escapes, a brief moment where our consciousness exits the simulation to see the world from a different dimension? But there's a scarier question. Would we even want to escape? What if we find out that the simulation is a prison, but the real world is 1,000 times worse? What if we wake up in another simulation? Or what if we find out that there is no way out at all? But here's the ultimate twist. What if we are already creating our own simulations? We are building video game worlds that look more real every year. We are developing AI that can think and learn on its own. We are moving towards virtual reality, augmented consciousness, and digital immortality. What if we are the ones creating the next simulation, and one day the beings inside it will start asking the same questions we are? Maybe this isn't the first simulation. Maybe it's just one of many, and maybe it never truly ends. The greatest truth of all is that whether we are real or a simulation, the question itself is what matters. It forces us to confront the nature of our own existence, to question our reality, and to wonder what comes next. The very act of asking these questions is what makes us human. And in the end, whether we're real or digital, our journey is the same: to find out what is truly real. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this one. Now please let me know what you'd like to see covered in the comments below, and please like and subscribe, and all that good stuff. It's free and really helps out our small little channel. Okay friends, until next time, stay curious.